Hey all, this is a DF Digger. Um, just bringing you a short little video on the bells that I've found over the last 2 years. Let me throw my glasses on here. I'm sorry, my GoPro is kind of messed up right now, so I'm still using my phone. Um, yeah, right here there are 61 bells and 2 cannons, which I'll go over. Yeah, a lot of these bells I've found in the river. I'll kind of go over different styles and types that I know of, and if anybody has any better knowledge on any of this, please chime in. All right, I'm going to start off with this bell here. Kind of different. Not sure how it would have attached or what it would have been on, alarm or something. If anybody knows, let me know. Um, these bells here, these here are all what I believe are phone bells, or they would have been on alarm clocks or something. Rusty one here. This one here was one that I had found on an embankment. When the air gets to it, it just rots them real bad, real quick. You'll see the other ones there, a lot of them in really good shape. Let's move over this way here. Yeah, these two here, I am pretty positive those are desk bells. And we got let's see, we'll move that one there. We got these bells here. They all look pretty common, or the same underneath. They have a little hook. I believe those might have gone on like little alarm clocks. The ones here that all have holes in them, those there would have had a handle on them of some sort. Let's see, we'll go through, pick out a couple of these. This one right here, this actually was the first bell I had ever found. It was about 30 feet on the river's edge, or in the woods. And this part that's corroded, when I was digging in the pile, this part here was actually sticking out, so the air had gotten to it. The rest of it was underneath the dirt, which preserved it pretty well. Alright, let's see. This one here, it's a big dinner bell or school bell, and somebody had shot it, which is pretty cool. Went through one side, but didn't do anything on the rest. Then we got some different Croto bells. This one here still has the clanger in it. Let's see. This little one, not that one. This one here still has one in it. A little jingle bell. A couple tiny ones. The rest of these here are, except for that one. That one there is just a jingle bell. These ones here are Conestoga bells. Except for this one right here. I've seen actually pictures where they had handles on these ones, so it would have been a big dinner bell. These were mass produced in America. I can't remember the dates, but they were mass produced, I believe, by Sears. And when they were done by Sears, they were made out of a much more or less inferior metal. Something that was a lot lighter. This one here is one of the originals. It's made out of the cast iron. This one here is pretty cool. Still has the leather with the rivets on it. A lot of them clean up pretty well. I use a Dremel tool with a wire brush. To get them back down to brass, though, I needed to use, it's a Dremel bit, but it has little paddle sandpaper pieces on it. And that's really the only way to get it back down into where it's shiny again. This one here I made for my wife, as you can expect. Her first name starts with E. And she has Scottish heritage, so we did the thistle on the back. And that's what it would still look like on the inside there, which still need to get cleaned. And those are some of the other different size Conestoga bells, little sleigh bells or jingle bells. Um, this one here, unfortunately, was broken, but it still had the hook on the inside of it. Now, this one I found on land, and that had 3 clangers in it. I hadn't seen any like that before. And we got another broken little piece. This here's a nice little brass bell. I found this down at the police department's front lawn. They let me hunt down there, which, just to let everybody know, it's public property, so you do have a right to hunt it. I'd still ask permission. And this is probably my best bell. Let's see if we can get this to focus a little bit. This one here is pure silver, and it was handmade. You can see where the solder lines are on it. This one here I found right next to that last bell at the police department. Alright, so as far as bells are concerned, a lot of these here were found in the river. I'd say, maybe except for 2 or 3, were all found in the river or by the river's edge. Yeah, a lot of floods brought down farms, houses, businesses. So a lot of these items were pushed down through there. I would say a lot of the Conestoga bells over here, those there, people had been crossing that river with their livestock for many, many years, even after the bridges were put up here in town, which you couldn't cross livestock. They weren't built for that. So for quite a few years, over 100 years, they were crossing them in the river. So I can imagine there's still many, many more that we didn't find, and there's probably a bunch of them on the land when the floods had pushed them up. Alright, now we'll get down to the 2 cannons. This cannon here, this was made by my brother-in-law, which he had passed away 5 years ago of cancer. But I was lucky enough to get that cannon. It does fire. I've used it before. With enough gunpowder in there, it sounded like a 30-30 going off. And we fired it off in my garage. There was no projectile, but it was very loud. This cannon here, I found this last year on my last hunt of the season, and it was just about 10-20 feet from the river's edge in the woods, down at Brown's Mills. It has a nice little star on one side. It does have a star on this side too, but it got marred pretty bad. Does have the fuse hole. I've cleaned it out right up to about here. Whoever fired it last jammed something in there, and it's pretty solid. I don't know if I'll ever be able to drill it out without damaging it. I may just leave it like it is. So this one may or may not ever get fired. If it does, I'll film it. But if anybody has any information on this, or has seen it online anywhere, please let me know. I've looked and looked. I found one that was similar, but was in really, really rough shape. And it was going for a fair amount of money. Not that I want to sell it, but I'd just like to know the value of it. But, alright, so that's pretty much it on these. I'm going to put up a bunch of still pics of the different bells. The one bell that isn't here right now, well, actually there's a few bells that's not here right now. The 7 that Richie and Kelly found. The one that I made for my father, I remade it and put a handle on it, and I'll show that picture. I'm going to make that the last picture of the video for the still pics. And then I've donated the museum. They have 3 of the bells down there that I couldn't get hold of today. A lot of these I brought back from the museum today so I could do this video. Alright, cool. If anybody has any questions, suggestions on any certain types of bells or what they might have been used for, on what, please post a comment. Alright, thanks all. Have a good night.